Hey guys, welcome back to another sketchbook tour. So this sketchbook's going to be slightly different to my usual ones. I started half of it when I was 14 and I left it unused for a really long time. Then I came back to it again when I was 19, which was last year ago, which was in around 2018, 2019, and I started using it and I finished it this year. So I'll show you the stuff I made when I was 14. And yes, it was originally an ideas book, and that's supposed to be like a drawing of me. So I always wore this hat, and I like the nyan cat, so I combined them. Here are my different ideas for things. I really got into onesies because they were quite popular at the time. Me thinking of like cosplay ideas for Comic-Con. Me thinking of ideas for Tumblr posts. Yeah, I know. And there was this website called firebox.com, and they made really cool, like, kind of quirky, sometimes kind of gimmicky stuff. And I thought that was really cool, and I wanted to make my own version, so I designed stuff for my bootleg version of that website. Here are some more onesies, and had things to do in the summer holidays, because I wrote this like a month or two before we broke up for summer holidays, so I was really excited. Oh gosh, this list is so silly. Things to do at sleepover. Talk. Well, I guess you could. And I got really obsessed with Majora's Mask, and I wanted to make one out of paper mache, but I never did. And you also have some doodles here. This is sort of stuff I doodled when I was 14. Yeah, blank page. And some idea for clothes. And some like font typeface thingies. And this drawing here is the last drawing I did in this sketchbook. And so I started from the back, so I'll show you the back. Okay, so this is an actual drawing I did when I was 14, and so are these. And this was when I was 16, and then here's when it starts from, like now, from 2021. Oh, this specific drawing is from 2021, and this is 2019. And here I did some studies of different illustrators. A lot of them were like fashion illustrators, so I really got into it. Fashion illustration. He's a really cool artist, Masashiko Satou. I really like his stuff. And this was me like trying to thumbnail stuff for my comic, though I did change the plot a bit, so none of this actually appears in the final comic. This is me designing my D&D character. Her name's Clara, and she is a Furbolg Nature Domain cleric. And these are some more studies. These two are my characters, but I studied an artist, and then I like drew them in the style of the artist. I think it came out quite well. And sadly I don't know the names of the artists because they were on really old patterns for like sewing, so the drawings were on there. So I don't think it says who the artists are on them, which is a shame. This is me doing more comic thumbnails, and I changed the plot again, so this is not going to feature in the comic. And this is when I got into Magnus Archives. I'd already been into it, but I was like, oh, I wonder what Jonathan Sims looks like, because it's a podcast and they don't have official like drawings or artwork of them, so the fans are free to interpret the characters however they want them to look. So I did some thumbnails, and yeah, I remember being such a hipster about it because the way he was like depicted in the fandom, like in my head I was thinking, oh yeah, my interpretation of what he looks like is gonna be so different. Then I drew it and I was like, oh, it looks exactly like how the fandom one looks. Okay. And here's some like doodles from my session of D&D. Me mess around with brush pens. And some more comic pages in there. Even more comic pages. And some of this might show in the comic. Like this panel. I did put that in the comic. And this was a silly meme based off the first page. Or episode, because it's vertical format. But this is another page from page I doodled when I was doing a session of D&D. Some more doodles. Me thinking of making a cool pencil case, but I do not have the skills to make this. Yeah, maybe? I don't know, but at the moment I don't have the skills. And here are some doodles of my characters featuring a random person and Reagan from Masashiko 100. And I really want this as a plushie to exist in real life. I drew it once in one of my drawings and I was like, oh man, I want that now. I want a bunny plushie that looks like that. I'm not sure how to do it, but I'll try my best. This is me thumbnailing a new character for my comic. And these are some more thumbnails for my comic. There's gonna be lots of comic thumbnails in this. And this is a thumbnail for Masashiko 100 comic. Fan comic I was doing. I haven't finished this. I might come back to that. And these are some like thumbnails from, not thumbnails, there's some doodles from another D&D session. So I like doing the sessions. And this is some random people being sassy. And me trying to make a commission page, because I haven't done that yet. So I try to make it look cool. And these are some comic ideas, and I drew a skirt for some reason. These are some more comic thumbnails. Hopefully it's not spoilery, I don't know. Me writing notes, because I was taking a class in perspective. So that was fun. And this was me thinking about doing like fan art, but like A to Z. But I realised I don't really know stuff. And these are some more like, I went on to Unsplash and Pexels and I drew faces and a random car from there. And that's just my character Clara. Some more notes from classes I was taking. My friend was making houses in The Sims, so I made this weird little mock-up of a house that he could build. And these are some more thumbnails from the comic. So I did one panel, but I thought it sucked, so I just redrew it lots of times to try and make it more dynamic. You got some like life drawing here. I drew a random rabbit from memory, that's why it looks really wonky. And I drew Clavier Gavin from Ace Attorney, but he looks really weird. I tried my best. These are some more notes from a class and me trying to thumbnail more stuff for my comic. And I drew my character as a clown because she is one. Not literally, but here are some more like D&D doodles. And here are my other characters, because I've got lots of characters, so I just drew them and I really like this drawing the most. I put so much effort into like the clothing folds. It's kind of funny. I love drawing clothing. It's like one of my favorite things to draw. So I put so much effort into, like, I put all realistic shading on the clothing and add lots of nice folds, and then the face is just like kind of wonky. That's not a character, by the way, it's just a random person. It's more stuff from the comic, and me trying to like give them more facial expressions, because I always keep going back to the same like slightly confused facial expressions, kind of like oh no, sort of one that kind of like that. I always go back to using that one. I'm like, let's shake it up a bit, so I drew lots of circles, try and make the facial expressions kind of funny or interesting. And I noticed that I always draw the same eye shape, which kind of sucks, so I tried to change what the eyes look like for my characters, and I labeled them for each character. So all this is comic stuff. Here I drew my right hand, and for those of you that don't know, I'm left-handed, so I'm trying to teach myself to be ambidextrous with drawing. I mean, I think it's going well. And this is like a silly idea that like one of my characters works in B&Q. And for those of you that don't know, B&Q is like a DIY shop, like Home Depot. And here she's saying, oh, hammer, I really love this thing. It's not even that funny, but for me it's funny. And I did a study of Masashiko Satou's art, but I wanted to know how you drew eyes, which you'll see later on in this page. More comic stuff. So I was really like dead set on having this one panel in there. It's like a homage to like the really dramatic anime reaction things. You know, when something happens and all the anime characters just appear on the screen. I wanted to add that in, but then I realised it wasn't really working, so I had to cut that out, which is a shame. And I was watching this video by Lucia Art, and she was drawing random My Hero Academia characters with her friend, and I kind of like drew along with her. It was fun. These three characters weren't part of the video, I just drew them randomly, and another was Shinso. He's my favourite character, that's why there's more detail put into him than the others. I had this idea of drawing like people with plant hair, so I kind of went ham with that. And I had this other idea of like tieflings, which are like characters with horns when D&D, but tieflings but with mushroom horns. I think that's kind of cool. Like, come on. And I drew a bird. It came out really badly, so I just filled it with text, and I shall zoom in on that so you can see that. Wow, look at the details. And I was watching a video where someone mentioned they had a peperomia plant, and I was like, wow, that plant's cool, so I wrote it down because I like cool plants. And this is when I started drawing. No, I've been drawing for more, but what I mean to say is I had this idea for the longest time about like a kind of 60s AU of Mob Psycho 100, and I drew it. So here it is. Technically it's a mod AU, and for those of you who don't know, mod is like this subculture that came about in the 60s, and it started I think in the UK, and it's basically around like mopeds, around mopeds, and like if you think of like bands like the Who, they're mod as well. So I was like, what if this came out all because of a pun, so I wanted to call it Mod Psycho 100 because the show is called Mob Psycho 100, and I thought I was so funny for thinking of that. But hey, this drawing was very fun, and I'll flash up a finished version of it because I did the rest digital right here. Wow, look at that. So anyway, this is my sketchbook. It's kind of chaotic, but yeah, it's an interesting sketchbook for me to flip through. Maybe it was an interesting one for you to see. I don't know. Well, anyways, thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye!